What's popular YouTube? Another day, another demo, and I know what the question is, guys. Everybody wants to know, why aren't you at Blast? And that's because I fly tomorrow night and land on the 16th, which I think I picked the wrong day for my flight because Blast starts on the 16th. So I'm going to be very tired going from the airport to the studio and casting right away after having flown for like 2 months. So don't know how this happened, but I saw a book on the 15th. I booked on the 15th, arrived on the 16th. Oh, big mistake. Okay, probably gonna be tired for the first day's game. It's gonna be a good game though, but I'm gonna be too excited to cast. I won't be too tired. The other question, of course, is, dude, you look so high in your last video. Were you smoking weed? No, I don't smoke weed. Okay, I did have a little bit of a gummy a week ago or something like that, but that was the first time, and it was nothing. It was like 2.5 milligrams. I was terrified to take it. I have not smoked or done any weed in years. 10 years probably, since I was a wee lad. Okay, third question. How long has it taken you to do a blameF demo? Wow. blameF, top 6 player 2020. No blameF demos, no blameF week, no blameF month. Well, listen, I was in there was a backlog of demos I had to do. Okay, fourth question. The hair, dyed the hair. Yes. I last time I dyed it was before quarantine, so we're bringing it back. I always said I didn't want to dye it while we were in quarantine because I felt like dyeing it for yourself was lame, but you know, I've had some of my best looks, fully blonde, so I'm excited to get back to lands, get back to blonders, and take shit serious again. You know what I mean? This winter, lands are coming, and I'm gonna be ready. Native.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Appreciate it.
So I'm so happy to have all these pros coming over to native, so we never have to change our resolution. I play on native now. I was playing on 1728 by 1080, my favorite res probably, but native is up there. Oof, I love native. Okay, blameF had a tweet. This is an investigation. Investigation station. blameF said here, entry F, quietly in a tweet. Because at Pro League, he had 8 maps played at this point. Not the most, but a really high rating for T-side. Okay. And a lot of attempts on the entries. All right, he was actually number 1 there for a second. I think he ends up being like 3rd highest T-side stats overall at Pro League, which is exciting. It's over 16 maps, which is solid. Opening kills here, 2nd. I believe this was at, what was this? This is for the last month, so look, this is going to be an interesting one. I picked a random game from Pro League, Overpass, watch the T side. It was a game where he played very well on T side, 13-7. There should be some opening kills in here, 1.60 rating. Let's see how blameF evolves. If you'd like to support my content, support my one and only sponsor, DJEsports.io. Use my referral link in the description for 400 free DJT, which you can use to enter into the Prediction World Series, where you can predict the outcomes of some of the major esports events, including Dota's The International, the CSGO PGL Major, and the League World Finals coming up this fall-winter season, for a total prize pool of 10 million USDT. If you use your 400 DJT, make sure to drop by their Discord and ask ModMail for 800 more. Happy betting, and thanks for supporting me. He's got to be the final form, though. You can't really get much bigger than blameF, right? That's the only thing. Like, if blameF was a Pokemon, it would be the Charizard already, right? But, yeah, like the Charmeleon, maybe the Charmeleon's like config, and then the Charmander was like Rush, or something like that. Just like 3 jacked guys, but all like kind of different sizes. But, yeah, I don't know what you would evolve blameF into, but, of course, we did a video called Rops is Evolving. Can I explain the strat 1 sec? Around the world to go clear out the bathroom, push them back off long, clear out bathrooms, and then you come downstairs. You don't see anybody. The CTs have no information. They rotate badly, and you get stairs control. You kill all the people in close angles. If they're not here, then you can go for the kills. But look, it's the boost. It's the boost on short. They might have read this. And they're actually splitting on short as well, but Buster gets 2 kills. If you went 1 for 1, it would have been okay. But NATO trades back. And the site has 1 smoke on it. There's 2 CTs here. They all rotated hard. My God. No chance there for Virtus Pro. They get called out, but it's a good strat. It's a lot of people do it on T side. Very low util needed, right? You just need one heaven smoke for when you get down into short water, and before that, you're really just running the Glock train all the way around through long and make sure the CTs aren't going to push A, and if they're by themselves, they get punished. That's all. Ooh. Well, there it is. Opening kill for blameF. Here's what we're trying to find out. If blameF, one of the hardest lurkers in Counter-Strike by reputation, is, you know, is he evolving in the same way Robs has, where Robs has started to not just be a role player, insane lurker, you know, topping the stats, really great in the clutch, but not much versatility in the form of entering or being able to change his tempo a bit. Robs has shown that he's evolved, and that's really cool. Upping his entry stats and freeing himself of this reputation of being kind of one-dimensional and playing a little bit too slow sometimes. And blameF in the same way. Now, I would like to say that just because they played like that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad players or that they're bad for doing that. Because that is what they're good at, and they played their roles to perfection, right? Absolute perfection. They were like both top 10 riflers, unbelievable KD differentials, insane in the clutch, and in my opinion, blameF was just an excellent lurker, like straight up. I felt like he played it in a classical way that I didn't think would be possible. He did it all throughout 2020, which is arguably harder to pull off a role like that with the amount of games going on and the amount of people studying you and all that stuff. And he's been consistent about it. But there is the question, the reason why this style of CS that blameF had was falling out of popularity over the years was because it got to the point that, you know, with players like Get Right and Happy, famously as lurkers, when you would kill them, you'd know where the other 4 players were on the other side of the map. Or if you know, anytime you got a name tag or you found him in a position that you thought he'd be in, it would just give you way too much info on the map. If they're the last player alive, you check your flank. If they were, you know, if you're middle of a post-plant situation, you'd be very, very nervous and paranoid. So it just wasn't surprising enough to be able to pull that off. And there's only so many spots you can be on the map in. But what's very interesting about players like blameF and Robs, and, you know, a lot of the times the player who's the lurker has also been just the star player in terms of how good they are, because they're smartest in the clutch, just the most consistent rifler. And that's been blameF, honestly, just super consistent stats-wise since joining Complexity. But yeah, that's the interesting part, is that they oftentimes are also the star player. But to me, what that means is that there's probably a bit more room for risk for them to show off how versatile they can be. And there might be the question, okay, let's say blameF comes down from top 6 in terms of stats because lurking gives you the best stats ever. You know, you're cleaning up the anti-eco pushes by yourself. You're, you know, you're getting exit frags to keep that KD differential so high. Let's say you take a few sacrifices and try to go for a few more entries and die a few more times. And let's say blameF stats, he goes from number 6 in the world to number 10. But he's so good, and now he's doing some of the entering on top of some of the lurking as well. The whole team is harder to read. He's having impact as an entry because he's just a very good rifler and very smart. And now he's having his cake and eating it too. How much is the team benefiting from him taking this role? So here's a very hard entry round, of course, that we just saw. Sorry, a hard lurk round where he doesn't come in to get the kill, but he tries. But the question is, you know, this isn't exactly how it works. But let's say, you know, he comes down a few spots on his individual ranking because he gives up some of the lurking and stuff like that, the kills, and the low DPR and all that. But he brings in some entrying and shows off how he can actually pull off some entries. How much is the team benefiting now? And of course, at Pro League, there has to be a reshuffling of roles a little bit, right? Because config, if you missed it, let me just tell you something, okay? When I heard that config broke his hand, okay? And when I heard that config broke his hand, okay, the first time I ever met config, I told the story. I walked into a club in the middle of France. No one spoke English. Went downstairs on some random day, and Config had his shirt off doing the worm on the dance floor. I told the story of Blast. So that's who Config is. Okay. So when I heard that Config broke his hand, I thought this guy did the dumbest thing. I thought this guy, backflipped into the ocean and hit a shark and broke his hand. Like, that's the kind of dude I you know what I mean? I thought that this guy tried to like crush a beer bottle on his forehead and snapped his wrist or something. Like, that's what I thought happened. What actually happened was he was walking through the airport with Starbucks in his hand and slipped and fell on his hand and broke it. The fact that that happens to Config just blows my mind, considering the kind of guy Config is. The amount of energy this guy has. I was like, no way. I couldn't believe it. So if you missed it, Config broke his hand, and so that's why NATO's playing here. But yeah, there has to be a reshuffling of the roles a little bit because you're losing such a key player in Config. Such an aggressive player, and it's very cool actually that blameF either incidentally or purposefully was able to involve himself in a lot more of these entries, and not only that, have such great success. Now here's a round where he's just middle of the pack. There's no entering really going on per se. Oh, that's a nice spray. Okay. I also used to tell this story every single time we'd start a complexity match. Say blameF, he says he once said that he DMs 33 hours every day he has a match because he's work ethic F, right? But apparently he doesn't do that anymore. Oh, that's tricky. That is tricky. That's tricky. That Molotov lands. blameF goes to throw, extinguish the Molotov. It denies the playground, but it's a nice zoning Molotov. It makes them, face forward, and they can't jump through the smoke. I really like that from Virtus Pro. I actually have not noticed that people are throwing it like that all the time. That's something I didn't notice, but that's definitely a great way to throw that molly. Instead of just throwing it right into the stairs, of course. Oh. Okay. Talk about another player. Asatag coming onto the team. We got to do a demo for him. Oh, Poison just saw some. Just saw something. Sanji. The apparition of Sanji sitting in the corner. Little shoulder coming out. How will they play this? Let's see the 2vx here. Poison and NATO. Come on, then. So there's always the, people coming up with the right side. That's the one concern. A head can pop up there. You gotta be careful, yeah? But you don't want to be a slave to this angle, but... Oh, that's beautiful. I love how NATO played that right in front of Poison, just as they were losing a little bit of space. But there's still an extra player. Unfortunate. You could say, oh, he could just play back. That's not gonna win you the round. And Asatag, you can see he's the one on the other side of the map. This is the other thing, though. I wasn't that familiar with... Complexity's overpass in general. I haven't watched too many of their games from this perspective, and I was wondering who is going to be the, who is going to be the B anchor on T side here. But blameF has been moving with the pack on most of these rounds and has not been the not B anchor, B lurker, the guy, the Nico of the team, the Axile, the guy who's sitting out here, holding for pushes, taking over short control slowly. And it looks like Asatag is that guy. So, okay, entry F. Face first into the chaos. And of course, it's not first kill on the round, but, he's really putting himself out there to be here in front of the pack as they get into the site. They won't even need his help. They had entry. The nades are perfect. They get the space they need, and we move on forward another one round. Okay, let's see what happens. So, now in this position, we're going to set up some... Oh my. So that was supposed to be a nade that lands for the boost. So I'm going to call it heroic nades because they're the first team that I saw doing it. But they're doing a triple nade from there where it would land exactly where the boost is in the B site where you would boost to C into short. And the nades go over that wall and land there. All right, that was a common nade combo to throw. So they did it with two people, but I think Blame just messed up and didn't hit his jump key or his jump throw or something like that. Threw his nade at the wall. But what was interesting is they're doing it with two people. And I've always been kind of... It's not so bad because it's really early on the round. You can throw those three nades. But I've always been a little bit wary of throwing triple anything or doing triple boosts or whatever, because you give up so much information to the other team when you do something triple. Like if the CT stack in B, you know, a triple boost with the glitch boost over the wall in B site, then, and you like, you know, that player gets a kill on the triple boost, but they kill the lurker and there's 4 players towards A, then the other side of the map can just make a move very quickly, knowing for sure that there are 3 people boosting dedicated inside the B site, right? That's a lot of information. So, and on top of that, there's 3 people standing on directly on top of each other, which means there's lots of stuff that's not being watched, you know? So, okay, another lurk situation. And this is blameF's bread and butter, and this is what he's great at. And you can see that there is still some similarities between what he's done before, but already there's a couple of different types of rounds that we've seen from him in terms of pace, where he's been with the pack. So it looks like they change up this this incendiary. So they're mauling the playground. Sometimes they're mauling right here. And this is what I was talking about before with the smoke landing right there. But I think Complexity, because they're changing it up, Complexity have to guess whether or not they're going to molly inside the playground or molly deep. So they forced them to hold their nades out and actually got Jame a kill. I hope I'm reading that whole situation correctly, because if that's true, that's very interesting. But it's also something I didn't notice anyone else doing. There's just so many things to look for, which is good, which is awesome. Complexity is scouring map control. And your main fear here is just not getting opt. But you don't really have to worry about getting off from that divider peak there. There is a spot. There's a moment here where a CT can reaggress. This is the scary part, where they try to creak back into position. And this like God B smoke, I don't even know, you know, divider smoke, I guess would be the best way to call it. I always called it the God B smoke because of big and how they're throwing it. That smoke is kind of annoying just because of the amount of spots it opens up for the CTs. But it looks like a quick B exec. Gotta love how fast they turn this into a sight hit with stairs control. And this right here is the reason why stairs control is so powerful, right? They just had a way so much presence over on the A site. So much, right? And because they had stairs control, they have like a 5 to 7 second rotation downstairs into short water. And they turned that into a B site hit, and look how many people are dying rotating in. Really beautiful transition for Complexity to use the fact that they have that short water, very decisive call. And they just organized so well. I love how quickly that ended up working out. And that's Sanji getting a kill as well. So Jame will punish blameF coming for this exact pick. Very careful by Jame. So again, this Molotov lands. It's a little late, does some damage. It's a bit late so that, you know, they explode through. blameF only takes 10 damage, you see. So when I don't know the exact numbers here, but when that incendiary or Molotov lands, if you run through right when it lands, I mean, you might not take much damage at all. When it fully spreads, you're going to take a shit ton of damage. So if you're on the other side, the person throwing that incendiary Molotov, you got to realize when it's going to be respected or not, because it's not going to be full-sized as soon as it lands. And if, you know, someone's running into a Molotov, they see one coming hurling at them over a wall or something, it's not going to be that intimidating if they can run forward through it. So sometimes it's really important to make sure you throw that Molotov early or shallow rather than late and too deep. Let's see what happens. There's almost never been any top bathrooms presence. I feel like it's fallen out of favor, top bathrooms. But we do see the odd round. We saw in the bit demo, you know, he's playing there sometimes. But it's just less and less common, I feel like, because yeah, it's a position you can't rotate out without some utility. And even though you have a very strong, you know, position to win a duel or two, or to win a duel specifically, at least your first one, again, you can't just simply leave. You can't just simply, you become a top bathrooms community member, if you will. You end up having to stay there and live there. Wow, what a round from Poison. And sometimes that's not fun. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good spot. It's a good spot. I really like top bathrooms. I can't lie. I see it fall out of favor, but I think it's a good spot. No incendiary this time around. Flash to the peak. Do they come out with it? Wow, Virtus.pro are very tricky with their nades, but at the same time, they get counter flashed by NATO. That's some beautiful util by Complexity. And this wins them front bathrooms with a trade, but at the same time, they lose two. So not exactly worthwhile. And I'd like to see, I'm surprised they didn't get 2 kills here in front of bathrooms. And also, I want to know if that op was picked up. Did we get an op on the floor? The AK down. So they took that back. And Buster will pump one out. Solid nade. 72 damage. You know, one shot, headshot, M4. Powers up those guns. Okay, let's see what the 2vX looks like here. Oh, there's no chance for NATO. Surely. That MP9, 2 HP is like a Bloodseeker. You're that low on HP, he's going to track you down. Okay, blameF faking that he's going to go for short water control in case they're on the boost or they're not spotting it. So sometimes, like you see Virtus Pro try to set a lot of traps. They want to make you do something aggressive and then they off you. That's what we've seen a lot, very often here. So if they did go for the boost, the flash gets them off at least. This can take the edge off. Costs a lot of their utility though here. There's no smoke left over. It might not be the end of the world. We'll see. I think we're gearing up for a nose flash entry, or blameF just walks out if he hears nothing. No, he's going for it. They actually just wanted to clear out the close position. This is interesting. So let's see if they hold on to vision here. That's, I guess my big question is, are they going to hold on to vision? What are they going to do? Okay. They're moving back. Okay. Some interesting movements here from the T side. Using all their utility on the B site. Faking short control to scare anyone boosting, or taking very paying fickle attention to the short water. And also using a flash there to clear out the corner of B. But they get spotted on long, so all this utility and map control they took back might be for naught. You Kinder off in the corner. Oh, and now you just don't want to peek. Bombs out here in the open, but you just don't have a good way to scale. However, Kinder just simply goes down and... hold on a second. It's all in the strat, boys. It's all in the strat. Let's see if Big Dickert can... Nope, can't pull this off. What a round. Glock kill? Pistol kill? That was exciting. I kind of like the way that complexity move on this on T side here. I like it. I like how Virtus Pro are playing too. They look very annoying to play against. Starting to get an understanding of why they are so annoying to play against. They're definitely a solid team. I just honestly cannot stand watching them play sometimes. Oh wow! What? Surely, how did he get? I mean, no assist on that one. This guy was on a lifeline. No, Buster surely didn't take 100 damage grade A with no armor there. And again, I like the way that complexity are moving. They've done a good job of transitioning right into their executes as soon as they get the map control they need. That's what I love to see. Decisive calls like this, especially right after making a rotation. A few more seconds and Virtus Pro start to get paranoid and make a rotation up for themselves. So I'm expecting a relatively open site, but we also actually don't know what guns even Virtus Pro have at the moment. But yeah, I like this. Good stuff. One of our final 2 rounds. Let's see what the mix-up here is at mid. They take the op shot, dry. No molly comes down. They're using that James spawn every time they get it. And they're trying to flash the upper back. And another thing is that you see that you've got a stairs player coming up. So you can't stand out here inside of balloons or whatever peeking downstairs if you have if the T side is working on stairs control a little bit. So sometimes a T guy in stairs can't move up that quick. All parts of the map have to coordinate with each other, right? Because that stairs guy can be amazing to help them take over A and push the stopper back. But if he dies in stairs, I mean, you're very disconnected. You don't have the stairs rotation. Your B guys don't have short control yet. But if you have a guy in stairs and you have 2 guys taking over short control, they can connect. The door can swing open and they can peek together. Vice versa, if the stairs guy needs help and they take over short control, that door can come open from the other side. So it's important for the stair guys to try to stay alive. Sometimes he's by himself. But in a situation where you don't think someone's in stairs and he comes to, take over, come to the top of stairs, it can really help your A guys get control of the bathrooms. But we'll see how they approach it. I think his number one priority, make sure to stay alive. And really try to find, a very nice time to get a good read on the situation. Of course, this front bathroom smoke is another way to get uppers off these angles so you can clear stuff out. And it looks like a little bit of quid pro quo here with blameF helping their potential stairs guy, and they seem worried about it. So he's not going to go through stairs. They're going to keep an eye on it, but he's not going to die. And they're quietly going now. They haven't seen an upper top bathroom. Oh, there he's got spotted. James, whoa, blasted. A great shot by blameF. Another opening kill as well. Yakinder will get the trade on long, but you see, Yakinder's position, he's just very slow now because he gets this kill, and now he can fight from long, but he's been spotted at long. And he's also not as quick as them getting up to the site. So sometimes you'll see this player come up, but at the same, and try to fight regardless, and we'll see S-Tag, be aware of it as they try to fight. But this is now a somewhat T-favored position. Not that amazing. Yakinder's still in a good spot for the retake. That's the thing. He's not a great spot for the site defense, but he is in a good spot for the retake, right? He can threaten to come out long, see the way that they're watching now, or to come back through long the way he was. They have even numbers on the CTs. And now, look how many resources are dedicated basically just to be concerned about Yakinder. And they'll even try to get this stick off. That might be a beautiful defuse. We'll see if they can get the spam down through the smoke. It's definitely getting stuck, right? Wow, they pull it off. I like the retake attempt by Virtus Pro. That was smart, right? They kept Yakinder alive, dive the plant, and have everyone peek in front of it. While Complexity only have the bathrooms control, no one taking over long, no one able to aggressively fight easily from any unpredictable angle. But they still defend. It's a pretty good half so far. Interesting one. I would say it feels like Complexity won a. I think they were disadvantaged at that point. 4v4 with Yakinder on long control. I think it was a little bit nerve wracking. One thing that was nice about the side dice plant is that one big thing is if the smoke comes down on the bomb and you lose your points of reference, the dice box, the bathrooms, wherever they try to smoke, then it can be very hard to spam. But on that side dice plant, it looked like it was actually pretty easy to line up a nice spam onto the diffuser. Make things less random. That should be your goal when you're trying to smoke a plant. Is do you want that smoke to land on the bomb, or do you want the little smoke to land in a choke point? You have to make up in your head what makes the most sense. Because sometimes you're just trying to remove points of reference. Sometimes you're trying to bait someone into swinging way too wide to uncommit from. There's different ideas with that. Well, what will happen here? That was definitely blameF spray transfer. You go clear out monster, create that connection. Beautiful stuff. Guarantee that info. That's a small habit that's really good to do. And that is the end of the half. So I didn't count them up, but there definitely were some entries from blameF there. And it just looked like a versatile half overall. I think this is one of those questions that needs more of a... I need to look at more games to get a better sense of how accurate was this stat. But obviously, if he's tweeting about it and the stats show it clearly, the attempt rate was there, success rate, and we look at one game and he had a good match, and you could see he wasn't always just a lurker every round. I think that's pretty telling. blameF is evolving. That's really cool. Complexity is such a weird team because they've gotten so unlucky with all of their roster moves, but they have such a sick roster, and they had such a sick roster, and it's just kind of when is it all going to come together for them? But I really have faith because I just think that they've gotten incredibly unlucky with the amount of roster moves they've had to deal with. I mean, most teams wouldn't survive that at all. So I think, it's hard to criticize them as a team sometimes for their results because of the amount of awful periods they've had in the past year and bit. But apart from that, I think they've always kind of shown some promise. And blameF as an individual, he really is this team in a lot of ways. As the IGL, he has the identity of the team on top of being a top 10 player from last year. So So yeah, always happy to watch a blameF demo. If you've got recommendations, I'm going to be doing a few more videos here before I leave for Blast and doing some more investigations. So let me know what's going on with what you want to watch. And thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Peace out.